Meatballs, meatballs everywhere, but not a drop to drink, or something along those lines. But anyway, today we're gonna make some meatballs, and they are absolutely gorgeous, and they are super easy to make. They are a big change on the meatballs I've ever made before, and they start off with some pork and some beef mince in a bowl. To this, we're gonna go in there with our flavors. So we've got some onions, we've got a little bit of garlic. To bring it all together, some breadcrumbs, just some nice dry breadcrumbs go in. And then an egg to bind, nicely beaten egg. And then it's all about the flavoring from here. So I go with a little touch of oregano, or oregano, wherever you are in the world. And then I'm gonna give a good grating of some Parmesan cheese in here. Now, that is one of our core flavor ingredients we've got going on in these meatballs. But to echo kind of that creaminess that I'm looking for in these meatballs, I've got a little bit of buttermilk. Now, there's an acidity you get from buttermilk, which helps to tenderize the meat, but it also adds some really great creamy flavor. So I'm adding a good bit of buttermilk in here as well. And then a little bit more meatiness from some cubed pancetta. The last little thing we do need to add in here is a good bunch of some flat leaf parsley. Right, parsley is nice and finely chopped. Get that straight into your bowl. And now it's just a case of mixing this all together. But last thing, I nearly forgot. A little touch of salt and a good grinding of black pepper in here. It adds that little bit of spice, that tingle to your tongue. And now all you want to do is get your hands in there and give this all a good mix up. Once this is mixed through, you'll notice that the texture changes a little bit. As you've worked the meat, a little bit of heat has gone into it, and so the fats kind of bring the meat together. And it's at this point where it's kind of holding its shape and it's not breaking up. Now you want to start forming your meatballs. But I don't really love those big giant ones. I kind of prefer them to be almost like golf ball size, just around that. So you want to keep going with these and use up all that mixture until you have nice little meatballs. My favorite job in the kitchen is just about done. I've rolled all my balls. So now we're gonna stick these in here. You could leave these in the fridge to rest for about 30 minutes just to allow them to firm up, but I actually think they're pretty much good to go to be fried off in the pan. But first things first, let's give the hands a wash. Okay, so I've got a pan on nice and hot. I'm gonna add a little drop of olive oil just to fry these off. So into a hot frying pan, you're looking for a nice golden, kind of brownish color. So with a little bit of time and a little bit of patience, you now have beautiful golden meatballs that can be transferred into a roasting tin. And we're gonna use a little bit of that fat to make a really gorgeous tomato sauce that's gonna coat these gorgeous meatballs. Right, so meatballs are good to go. Leave them aside for just a moment, and I'm gonna transfer some of that fat, we don't want all of it going in there, just into a little bowl. And then we're gonna keep a little bit of still in the base of that pan because it's gonna add great flavor. Remember, you have all those pancetta oils and the meatiness that's going on in there. So to that hot pan, we're gonna add in some sliced garlic. Just to make sure that that oil starts to come alive, I am adding a touch more of olive oil. Then just fry that garlic gently, just until it becomes aromatic. You don't wanna burn your garlic at this point. So as soon as it starts to color, you are in business. Okay, this garlic is looking pretty good. So at this point, take up a good generous pinch of chili flakes. This is gonna add really great heat here. Fry that off, get that aromatic, and the minute it hits that hot oil, you're getting those great smells in the kitchen. To this, we're gonna add in some passata, some tomato passata. So just pour this straight in here. And to this, just to bring this sauce together and to make sure that we get a really deep and rich sauce, I'm gonna add a splash of red wine. So you just need about, I would say about half a glass, whatever you're not drinking yourself. Red wine goes in, and now this is gonna simmer away just until that alcohol burns off a little bit and you get this rich, intense sweetness to the sauce. And last little touch in here for a bit of flavor and to echo the aromatic flavors that are in the meatballs is about a teaspoon of dried oregano. So get that in there, great flavor from that, stir it through, thicken it up, and once it's nice and thickened, after about 5 minutes, we're gonna coat our meatballs and get baking in that oven. Right, this tomato sauce has had about 5 minutes, and it doesn't change drastically in its texture, but what happens in an hour and 30 minutes in the oven is that it will give a really rich flavor to these meatballs. So just coat all those meatballs in the sauce, and grab up your tongs, and you want to coat each single one in that beautiful tomato sauce. These beautiful meatballs are now ready to go into the oven. They're going in to bake off for 1 hour and 30 minutes at 150 degrees Celsius, that is 300 degrees Fahrenheit. And you can cover them if you want to, but I actually think they'll bake off quite nicely in the oven uncovered. And then towards the end of the cooking time, we're gonna take them out, we're gonna add a little bit of cheese and make things beautiful. Right, into the oven. They've had their time, it's been a long time, but it has been worth it because what's happened here is that sauce has reduced right down. You can see the meatballs, even when you just poke them with a spoon a little bit, they're really soft. That tomato sauce has baked into them. And now, I mean, you could eat them as they are, but we're gonna finish it off with some mozzarella cheese and a little bit of parmesan, stick them back in the oven and get a really nice bubbling top to this. It's kind of like a meatball lasagna going on here. With your mozzarella cheese, you wanna make sure you get nice, beautiful big balls just like this, and then slice it into hefty chunks. Just grab up those slices and tear them in and around that sauce. And then just over the top, I've grated up some Parmesan cheese and you want to sprinkle that all the way over the top here. It looks good enough to eat right now, but I have to stick it back in the oven, get it nice and bubbling and cheesy, and then it's time to eat. This is the magic moment when those meatballs come out of the oven. The cheese is bubbling up. You can smell that beautiful Italian essence in the air, or maybe it's just the meatballs, one or the other. Either way, this is the best moment. After all the effort you've put into these gorgeous meatballs, now you get to try one. You want some of that gorgeous cheese. I'm sorry, but they are hands down one of the best meatballs I have ever made. And I've made a lot of meatballs. My wife is Swedish and they do meatballs big style over there. Honestly though, you get that really great salty hit from the meatballs, that pancetta, the herbiness of the oregano and the parsley, all wrapped up in that rich tomato sauce, which is slowly reduced down. And then you get that gorgeous cheesiness from the mozzarella and the parmesan. If you want the recipe, you can find it out in the box below over on my website. Make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and leave us a comment below if you've ever baked meatballs. And if you haven't, and you want to try some, leave us a comment and let us know. Until then, enjoy these meatballs and I will see you soon. Goodbye. In here. Oh dear, I've had a bit of a salt spill. Anyway,